First, I just want to say, wow, thank you very much. That was very moving, Governor. And when I first thought about running, and I was appointed first. I was appointed for a vacancy, and I said, "Do I have to run?" And Governor Shumlin said, "Yes, but it's a piece of cake." And it wasn't. By far it wasn't. But I went to see the governor. And stopped at her place, and we talked, and we were sitting by the lake at the time, and in the middle, I was just overwhelmed with what she had talked about in terms of her life and her experiences and what she's done. And then she said, "Well, I'm going to a jazz festival, so you gotta go." So, so she's got a ton of life in her, and she does incredible work, and I'm so grateful for you, Governor, as a role model for women all across this state and all across this country. Let's give her another hand, please. Governor, I know that you suffered a loss recently. I just want to say we're all with you in spirit and love you, and know that you had a wonderful partner that shared your values. And we're grateful for both of you, and thank you for continuing that legacy. Thank you. Now, I do want to thank some people, and start with that. So first I want to thank Ruth. Where are you? Thank you very much, Ruth, for all the good work. My good friend, Joan Lennis, she was in the House. And frankly, she was on the Capital Institutions Committee, so if you think my job is boring. And talking about bonds, and she actually sat through a session where I talked about bond premium. So it was a great committee, and thank you for all the hard work that you've done, and thank you for being, is it chair? Is that the title? Yes. So thank you very much. Let's give her a hand, please. In this state's ever going to have, so what can I say? And I do want to reach out to some of the leadership. I want to say thank you, Mitzi. Where is she? She's back there someplace. Thank you, Mitzi, for all you've done. When you talk integrity, when you talk being able to bring a consensus together, when you see what she's able to do to get Democrats and Republicans and progressives all to work together for a bill, that's astounding. And you don't see that across the country. You really don't see it in D.C. And you don't see it across the country. And I just want to say thank you very much for what you've done to do that and maintain the humanity of Vermont in the process. Thank you very much. I am the National Association of State Treasurers President, and every now and then I got to go to D.C. to talk about different issues. And I was at Congress and did get to talk to some leadership about infrastructure and debt financing, all those exciting things that you want to talk about. But while I was there, I saw something pretty special at the Capitol in the Rotunda. It's the Portrait Monument. How many people have seen the Portrait Monument? How many people know what I'm talking about, the Portrait Monument? Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to do a little history lesson. So, a little change from my numbers, because it was either that or I was going to do something on pension and unfunded liability. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So it's just inspiring for me, because my grandmother was born in 1896, and she was 24 when women got the right to vote. She was the first woman to register as a Democrat in my hometown, all right? And she was very active in getting folks out to vote and getting them involved in the effort. And she was later involved in a group in Massachusetts. This was in Massachusetts, forgive me, I do have that accent. But a group called Women on Wheels. And it was get there by bus, get there by plane, get there by train, whatever it is, but vote. And JFK did a speech about that group in 1957, 58, something in that range, and I have a copy of the speech. But my grandmother was out there saying women can achieve, and women can aspire for more. And I got that from my mother as well. She taught, she was up every night. I love to read books. In order to earn my allowance, by the way, as a kid, I had to memorize poetry. I was very poor, but you know, it was just incredible. It was incredible that the amount of women in my life that have made a difference and have continued to do it again in this state with Madeline and so many other great people. But I was looking at the portrait monument, which is made. It's a monument, a sculpture for three people. It's Lucretia Mott, who was an organizer of the Quaker reformer, abolitionist, and also organized the Seneca Falls, I think that was in 1848, convention that started the women's movement. Second person was Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Most people know her as one of the co-authors of the Women's Bill of Rights. And Susan B. Anthony, who was an abolitionist and later president of the Women's Suffrage Association. And that statue, or that sculpture, is in Congress now, in the rotunda. And it was also, by the way, done by a woman artist named Adelaide Johnson in 1920. So, after the women got the right to vote, what happened? They had a big celebration. They brought everybody there. They brought this, it's 8 tons, the statue, okay, 8-ton statue. And they presented it to Congress as a gift from the National Women's Party. And 70 different women's organizations were there. And everybody said, great, what a wonderful thing. What do you think happened the next day? They put it in the basement, right, okay? And they put it in the basement, and they also eliminated the plaque that was on it. And I think the plaque says something pretty special. It said, woman first denied a soul, then called mindless, now arisen declaring herself an entity to be reckoned. And they took that off, okay? I think that's pretty good, don't you? All right. And it stayed out of sight to 1963. They actually had mops and brooms and things in their closet that they kept it in. And they made it a little bit more presentable in 63. But it wasn't until 1995 that women's groups got together with members of Congress, women in Congress, to try to get that statue moved. Somebody stood in the way of that, a gentleman named Newt Gingrich, who was chair of the Capital Preservation Committee. Hey. What can I say? They had $23 million in their budget for capital preservation. This was a little less than $100K to move it, and he said no. So what happened? Women across the country said, something I won't say, okay? And they rescued it, and they raised money and said, move that thing, okay? And in 1997, it was moved back to the rotunda. And so that said something to me about the resiliency of women. Women's effort, persistent success in getting that done and getting that back into the sunlight. When you talked a little earlier about the flower, I thought about this too, putting that statue back into the sunlight. And I think that was very, very important. Now, when you look at it, they also call it the unfinished portrait because there's 3 women on it, and there's this big piece of granite in the back that's not hewed, and it's waiting for, the thought is, there are 2 thoughts on it, 2 theories. One is that they're waiting for a woman to be president and to be in there and to put that in there. So I think that one's a pretty good one. And I think, by the way, that it would have been wonderful if we saw Madeline Kunin as that 4th person. What do you think? The other theory is that it's the unfinished business of the women's movement and to continue to move on. And that, to me, it means a great deal because I look across the country and see what people are doing now. And, you know, for me, this is about young people, older people. I'm a child of the 60s, what can I say? All of us working together to move forward on women's issues because we are nowhere near where we need to be. And we got to continue the fight for equal pay. How about that, folks? Equal pay? Single citizen in this entire world, right? Protecting a woman's right to choose and being true partners across this country and across the world to end discrimination, to end hate, and to end poverty. That's the dream and that's the unfinished monument that all of you in this room are a part of because you are here today making that happen. I'm so proud of all of you for what you're doing. And I want to say thank you very much for all the good work that you're doing. Thank you, and I'm thrilled and honored but there's so much more work to be done. There's so many good people in this room that got far more imagination than I do that can move this forward. Young people, older people, let's get it done together. Thank you very much.